You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
This is episode 135 of the Wisdom by Wessa show on the Horse Radio Network. This is Mike Donnell.
I'm Casey Wilbanks.
And this is Sofia Yagela. Welcome to Wisdom by Wessa on the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
This podcast is brought to you by the Western and English Sales Association, WESA, which provides the world's largest trade events for retailers, manufacturers, and sales representatives of the equestrian industry. In this podcast, we feature exclusive interviews with noteworthy Western and English personalities, retailers, and exhibitors who you've always wanted to talk to. Don't miss out on all the news from manufacturers and retailers in the equine industry. Sophia, this is the last episode before the kickoff of the August WESA trade show. What is special about the upcoming show?
So the August WESA trade show is usually a bit smaller than our January version, but this time around, the show is almost 3,500 square feet bigger than our last show, which actually means that this upcoming August WESA trade show is the biggest August show that we've held in Texas so far. So that's some great stats just going into August.
Do you have any tips or one favorite tip that you have for listeners as they prepare for the August WESA trade show?
So in short, I would say participate. And honestly, what that means is just really try to engage in as many events as you can and connect with exhibitors and just ask questions. It's especially asking questions really is a great way to get the most out of the show and being there in person and to learn up close and personal and get all the tips and tricks that you usually wouldn't. And that really helps to make new connections.
And just one last time, can you share the dates and the hours of the August show again?
Of course. So the August WESA trade show is from August 14th through the 17th. And that's a Wednesday through Saturday, with the show hours being 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Wednesday through Friday. And on Saturday, we close the show at 3 p.m. And of course, we're so excited to see everybody there and can't wait to kick off the August WESA trade show soon.
Red Dirt hats have been described as a lifestyle brand, worn by everybody from back porch poets to musicians, oil field workers, rodeo cowboys, first responders, ranchers, and outdoorsmen across the country. Founded by Ryan Johnson and Justin Brown in 2016, the company has enjoyed tremendous growth and expanded from caps to a wide range of products with the Red Dirt logo. Amanda Hrabowski, whose background includes stints with Cavenders and Twisted X, joined the company to add marketing strength to the brand, which is now sold throughout the U.S., as well as Australia, Puerto Rico, Mexico, and Canada. She joins us today to share the success story of this brand born in a town of less than 1,000 people where Bonnie and Clyde once staged a robbery. Amanda, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on the Wisdom by Wessa podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You know, I'm always intrigued with how people pick a name for their company. There are companies who pick a name that have absolutely no meaning whatsoever, and then they spend a lot of marketing money to make that name mean something, Yahoo, Google, whatever. But when Ryan Johnson and Justin Brown started their company, they picked a name, I think, that resonates with an awful lot of people when they picked Red Dirt Hat. But what I'd like you to do is give us a little background on that company and that name, and then we're going to go ahead and talk more about the business, especially since you've been involved.
Absolutely. So 2016, Ryan and Justin have been East Texas friends for quite a long time, and one was in embroidery, one was in oil field sales, and they kind of meshed some ideas together and started making custom hats and said, why don't we give this a whirl and put in a little apparel company together. And as far as coming up with a name, there wasn't really a question about it. The region, the music that we listen to, the type of people that we are, Red Dirt is along the banks of the Red River, everything is red. And so it kind of all came to fruition that way. And it really does resonate with a lot of people. Like you said, there's so many people that listen to that genre of music or that, live a certain simplistic type lifestyle that really do love the brand. And over time, it's just the identity of the brand has grown and people really do recognize that.
Now, you had mentioned to me that the kickoff point when the brand really began to get traction was when one of the major retailers liked it and adopted it and put it on their shelves. And that was Cavender's, right?
Yes, sir. So Cavender's is based out of White House, which is not too far down the road from our main headquarters, which is in Arp, a little small town outside of Tyler. And very much so in the Red Dirt area. We actually have Red Dirt Barbecue, which Cavender's attends as well. And so it just was very fitting, and they tested it out in a few stores, and it's been quite a few meetings of, hey, here's our hat style ideas. What do you think of this design? Or what do you think of this combination? And their buyers have been so helpful as far as picking up and taking off with our brand. And they were really quick to put it on display front and center. And I think that was a huge part of our success early on. A lot of brands, especially, small mom and pop type apparel brands, don't take off and see the growth that we saw quite quickly. But because of Cavender's, we were very fortunate to see that.
Well, and I think, this was prior to, but I have a feeling was related to the time that they decided to bring you on to give the marketing for the brand some structure and some enthusiasm. And now you're in an awful lot of retail stores. Chat a bit about the retail footprint that you have. And I'll tell the little story, because you said yesterday you came to Red Dirt after working at Cavender's and Twisted X. So you understood how to market and the marketing environment for Western fashion brands, which you've clearly helped a lot. Let's talk about the footprint for the brand for a minute.
Absolutely. So, after being in retail, then being on the wholesale side of things, I knew that I wanted people to have a relationship with a brand. I wanted people to connect, because I know that when people see, you can see a stock image of a hat and a white background, and that doesn't really do much for you. But I wanted people to see a story when they saw what we were putting out. And so as far as retail, we've grown to the point of being, the Buckle, Atwoods, Murdoch's. We're in over 1,000 stores nationwide, and Boot Barn has picked up our product. There's a great number of small retailers that have picked up. And that's really was the backbone for so long. Having Cavender's was great, but being able to build the relationships that we do with smaller retailers all over the country too, that only have one location, was great for us. So I think that's been a real advantage for us, was being able to shake hands at WESA with buyers that, we only get to see them once or twice a year, but they trust us in knowing that the styles that we're going to put out are something that's going to sell, the customers are going to love.
So however, you or the company haven't been satisfied just with making hats, because I look on the website, the idea for Red Dirt has now transcended into a lot of different product lines. And I want you to chat about that a little bit. And then we're going to bring Casey in, because this is also one of the areas where she likes to chat about. But talk a bit about the breadth of the product line and how that happened. And is that working?
Oh, yes. So T-shirts were a no-brainer for us. I think everybody loves a good T-shirt. So that was something that we threw into the mix pretty early on. We had right at 100 hat styles, and then threw in some T-shirt designs that just coordinated with hats that we had. And that got a great response from our retailers. It was a constant replenishment. We need more, we need more. And so started offering more and more of that. And then we teamed up with Trenditions, which is based out of Dallas, and started offering the leather goods, which we've got purses and handbags, cosmetic pouches, and now men's and youth belts. And a lot of those have custom buckles on them that you can't get anywhere else. And so they've got a red dirt buckle on them, and wallets, bifold and trifold wallets that folks love. And then the most recent addition was the red dirt Rome cologne. And that has just, I never would have thought that a bottle of cologne would have just exploded the way that it has, but people absolutely love the scent. And it's neat. It comes in it looks like a little flask. And that's always the big joke at WESA when people walk by our booth. They're like, is that really cologne in the flask, or what are you hiding there? But it's a great seller for us. And that's another thing I've got retailers that'll text me 9 p.m. on a Saturday night. Hey, I need another 2 cases of cologne. Can you get it to me? And so we get it out as soon as we can, but it does great as well. So it's been neat to add little stickers and koozies and things like that really help with brand identification. But product wise, it's very vast, and we're adding some more outerwear and some active apparel, things like that are going to be added to the line this fall.
Outstanding. Casey, hop in here.
Yeah. Well, cologne or whiskey, one will never know, but either will work.
Exactly.
So I have to say, back in 2010, I had started a hat company. It was caps, and they were, these bling caps. And I kept it going for 6 years and then dissolved it, which is interesting because now these kind of gaudy bling caps are coming back around. But I say that to say, staying relevant with ball caps is not the easiest thing. It's like sometimes I felt like I can only go so many different directions. So I want to talk specifically about some of your caps, and I want to make mention of some of the names, and then get you to talk about, where you're going with the marketing efforts with that. Because the first one that jumped out to me was Toter Tails. And obviously anybody that knows that Coleman Proctor, does Toter Tails. And so if you want to talk about the relationship maybe between the name of that cap and Coleman Proctor's Toter Tails.
Absolutely. So for those that don't know, Coleman Proctor is a pro rodeo athlete, and he works side by side with us. And it was kind of a joke at first that, we needed to have Coleman Proctor hats because he's got such a huge fan base. And
yeah,
he does these funny videos, and a lot of it was definitely during COVID, but he does these funny videos of Toter Tales, and he tells his rodeo tales, because I think so many people come that. Yes. And they have that, personable experience with him. And Coleman is just one of the nicest human beings ever, and hilarious. Just great dad, great husband, great, just all over. And so we worked with him and kind of put a simple design together. And we do get messages on Facebook about every other day asking what the heck a Toter Tail is. And so I have to lead people over to Coleman's videos and explain his silly stories. But yeah, that's where that one came about. And that's really been our most recent release on the website.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so fun. So years ago, I used to co-host Western Sports Roundup with Steve Kenyon on Sirius XM. And when Steve couldn't make it, Coleman was my fill-in. And this was prior to Toter Tales. So I had such a fun time hosting with him. And like you said, he's so funny, but he's such a good person, and he makes a lot of good points. And so a lot of the things I feel like for youth, especially, he's so good. He's such a great role model. So I didn't find it surprising that, he would have something to do with one of your caps. But another one that stuck out was Carrie Kelly. And obviously so many people in the Western industry, if you haven't heard of Carrie Kelly, but you can go ahead and talk about the relationship with them as well.
Absolutely. So having another Texas brand was really important to us. Our owners, Justin and Ryan, Ryan has a group of girls. He's got 3 daughters, and then Justin has a daughter and a son, and they all ride and rodeo. And so Little Britches is a huge part of their life. And when Ryan and Justin began shopping and realizing that Carrie Kelly was pretty flashy and then looked into the craftsmanship, they were really excited about it. And our event coordinator, also a team roper, Cameron Holt, he is a diehard Carrie Kelly fan. And so kind of merged some ideas together, and we loved the simplicity of his logo and put those together and started offering them. And it was a perfect fit for us because so many of our retailers, that's their demographic. They've got the true blue cowboys coming in there buying tack or buying Western wear, obviously. And Carrie Kelly was something that they're already sliding on their boot. And so it was perfect for a lot of our stores.
Sure. There's so many recognizable names: Cactus Saddlery, Anderson Bean, the list goes on and on. Hey, Sophia, Mike, maybe they need a Wisdom by Wessa cap.
Maybe they do.
Well, I love the idea. And anything else you want to talk about your marketing efforts? Social media. Are you guys extremely active on social media, or what is your focus in your marketing efforts?
We are active on social media. We really tried to stay with an organic approach without pushing our customers too much, because we get so much feedback initially with purchases that come through our website or come through a retailer or come from an event. There's so many people that send us a picture and say, I love this hat, or look at where this hat was worn, or, a picture of their hat next to their beer while they're in Jamaica, or, things like that. And it's neat to see where people are wearing our hats and that they're proud to wear our hats. And, there's certain things we do a different photo contest, and then we do a Lead the Herd scholarship, which is a local scholarship for kids involved in agriculture. And so different aspects of marketing kind of all over the place, but still trying to maintain that focus that we're family rooted and try to stay true to where we come from. And I think that is what has grown our customer base, but kept our repeat customers, because I can go through online orders and it just blows my mind to see how many people come back, every couple of months and order another stack of hats. And I think that is so great.
I mean, you had me at beer in Jamaica. You can see where my mind is at during the show. It's hot here in Cheyenne. A cold beverage. I better stick to ice water. Mike, anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, one thing. I mean, the red dirt image, if you will, the respect for what that brand stands for, interestingly enough, expands worldwide. I mean, as you were telling me, Amanda, there are customers in Australia and Puerto Rico and Mexico and Canada, which you wouldn't think necessarily would respond to the whole red dirt concept. I think largely thanks to your marketing and introduced them to it, but they seem to have adopted it and they seem to like it. If you could talk a bit about your international growth, please.
Absolutely. We've got a handful of retailers in Australia, and that has been just interesting to see how much they love the brand. They come over and they're so excited to see what we've got new and to offer. And, we said it in itself is just an exciting time for them. That's always just a joy, just to see that they love the artwork that we put together. And it's so different than anything that they see in Australia. But that and Canada, we've got, until the Cowboy Channel really started showing as many rodeos in Canada as they do, I don't think people realize there's a lot of rodeo cowboys and a lot of Western culture in Canada. And so Canada has been a great customer for us. They love the product. They love being able to, have the cool graphic tees and ball caps that we've got down here. But Puerto Rico was a great door that opened for us. And it's neat to think that people are down on the beach and, sporting their hats.
Well, I mean, I think that's again, a tribute not only to your marketing, but to what that concept of red dirt, it resonates with people. And as you had mentioned to me, you're not just doing marketing, you actually are part of the sales team with your own accounts, handling your own accounts. And I applaud you for wearing that many red dirt hats.
Yeah, no pun intended. That is.
Yeah, there was.
We joke all the time. My daughters, I have 2 daughters that they never do their hair. They're in a ball cap all day, every day. I'm like, sometimes we can transition. They're like, Mom, really? Look what you wear every day. It's a ball cap for you too. But yeah, it's been really great. I have New Mexico is my sales territory. And so I've built some great relationships with those accounts. And I always look forward to either going to New Mexico or being able to sit down and chit chat with those accounts and, have lunch with them at WESA, or, we get to go have social events in the evening and the golf tournament and things like that. And that is really special to me because it makes all of the hard work that you put into marketing so worth it, because you're seeing it come to fruition. You're seeing, the fruits of your labor when people are saying, all right, let's write up an order. Let's get these hats on our shelves. And so I've been really fortunate and kind of pick and choose some accounts across the country that I've been able to work with as well. And the honor of having some accounts that will tell you, if I can't work with Amanda, I don't want to work with any sales rep. Like that's who I want to go to. And so it's really special.
Well, I mean, I think it's amazing. And something else I think is amazing, when people found companies, I don't know that they envisioned that they will accomplish as much as your company has accomplished in only 8 years. I mean, this kind of came from a standing start to what you're explaining in less than a decade. And that clearly says something about the marketing. It says something about the quality of the product. It says something about your understanding of what the market wants. But I think you get applauded just for having that kind of a growth rate and having that kind of a market position in less than a decade. Not every company has that kind of success.
Yes, I would definitely have to agree there. I think a lot of that is us not being afraid to take chances and take a leap of faith, because there's been a lot of challenges that have arisen. I mean, COVID, as much as you hate to hear the C word, there was a lot of firsts for us, inventory management and figuring out, well, what hats do we keep in the line? What do we take away? How do we, still manage to take care of our customers at 100% and keep our heads floating above water? And we were really fortunate that we've been able, in the last 8 years, we've been able to keep going and moving forward at the pace that we are.
Well, I think you've done an admirable job. Again, we thank you for sharing that story with us, and we wish Red Dirt Hats all the luck in the world. Thanks a lot for being with us.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
You betcha. The show notes and links from today's show can be found at the website wisdombywesa.com. And of course, we'd love to hear your feedback. If you have any, there's a contact link on that site.
The Wisdom by WESA show will be published on the 15th and 30th of every month. You can listen on most of your favorite podcast players, and you can also listen on wisdombywesa.com. Be sure to visit all the great shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com. WESA, where the industry meets.